brand new ones? I thought I had the red one. What did you
It's your
call it?
lucky day.
My lucky day, huh? Okay. Thank you.
I remember.
Thank you. And Dr. Hartlab had to leave early, so he couldn't stay a few minutes in the beginning. Let me see. Well, this one looks good, so we'll see. Yeah, he just worked on this one.
But if you need
So
other
how many of
colors.
you have been in contact with Dr. Hartlab? So that, okay, good. So is he helping you to get the letter and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Today he couldn't stay. He had a school thing that he had to go back to. But let him know and he'll try to respond to you, okay? And you probably know by now my name, but I'll write it down too.
If you're English second language.
Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you talk to one of your classmates, okay?
They can give you half an hour more. You get the letter, he'll write it for you. Do it. There's nothing bad. Just, no, it doesn't, I mean, you don't have to, nobody, you just say that it's not your first language, they give you more time.
No, it's just for the test.
As anybody, yeah. The test, they give you extra time, that's all.
So how do you want to do this? We could either give you some time to look through the problem, not the problem, the other one, the problem, probability and statistics. Let's look at that one first. I went through it. I can see where there might be a couple of places that I want to explain some things.
Yes.
So do you want to look through it? Because they are very distinct sections, right? There are sections on mean, median, mode. There's a section on probability. There's a section on graphic.
I heard that they try to trick you in the mean, median mode.
We can talk about, oh, she says yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how do we remember that, okay? We can talk about that. And then there are some problems of a probability that you have to remember when you multiply, when you divide, not divide, when you add. And I would say that beside knowing the rule, I will again also provide maybe some explanation so that they make sense. It's not because it's like magic. It actually, there's a way to do it if you forgot the rule that you could actually know how to do it, right? Where probabilities is concerned, some of it is also a lot of logic and a lot of putting all the choices together and then picking them up. So we can go through that. So do you want to look through it real quick and maybe do a problem session?
I think
we
you
should
should just direct us
Just
because
go?
that's what our time here for.
Okay, I can do that. That's totally fine. And let me make sure I get that I have a packet, right? Make sure I have a packet. Hi. Make sure you sign in.
Yeah, I said.
Okay. So anybody? So what's the difference between mean, median, and mode?
Mean is you add up all of them and divide by how many, right?
Okay, that's a technical way of thinking about it. What is another way of thinking about it? What is the
Average.
meaning of it?
Average.
But what does it mean? Give me an example in real life where mean is, used. So if I had more time, if this was the class that I actually teach, I would actually bring in a lot of candy. And then when you walk in the door, I'm just going to give you a bunch. Okay? Each person get a bunch. Some get more, some get less. Okay? Then my goal, the activity at my instruction would be go around and talk to someone. So this is actually an exercise I can do, you can do in the classroom. Okay? I say go around and talk to somebody you haven't talked to and say your name and then try to figure out what you would need to do between yourself to have as close to be equal as possible. Okay? Let's say I have 6 and you have 4. Then I'm going to have to give you 1 so that we both have 5. All right? And then I'm going to ask you to keep doing it. So if you keep doing that, what is going to happen after a while? Just imagine that, right? Everybody got a bunch of candy, okay? And then I'm going to ask you to talk to as many people as possible, and then make sure that your amount is as close to as the other person. What is gonna happen when you do that over time? Like if you do it for a few minutes?
I think you gain some.
You gain some, you lose some, but if I'm always trying to make sure that you and I have about the same, what is gonna happen after a while?
Maybe it's gonna balance something.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody is gonna go, let's say it's like a 5 and 6, right? Let's say that once you get to 5 and 6, you kind of go, well, I can't give it to you unless I cut it into half, right? So therefore, if everybody get 5 or 6, okay, everybody get 5 or 6 or 3 or 4, or everybody happen to get 4, you balance everybody out. That's what mean is. Okay, that's what mean is. That you're spreading out a big number of something, and you're spreading it out equally. Okay? So think of a candy problem, okay? I call this a Tootsie Roll problem. That's what I've done when I was teaching. I call it the Tootsie Roll problem. I bring a bunch of Tootsie Rolls, and then as they walk in the door, I give it to them. And usually it's an opener for like beginning of the semester or trimester. And then I say, yeah, go talk to a friend. Keep talking to a friend. And I usually give them a question like, talk about what you did last weekend, right? Or what is your favorite movie? So you keep doing it until after a while you can't split anymore because you have done it. That number that you will be holding at the end is the mean, right? Because what you've done is you have taken a big group of candy and you have spread it out to everybody. Okay? And this is also a problem in, like when we talk about the average income, right? We talk about income. Some people, maybe income is here, some are here, right? So let's say this is age. I'm just making this up, okay? As you get older, maybe some people earn a lot more and then later you earn a little less. I don't know, okay? Maybe different age group earn different amount, right? So if I ask you what is the average income, what you're saying is that if I add all this income up and divide by all the people that contribute to that number, that's the mean, right? That means what is the mean? That means if I were to share all that, okay, on average, how much one person is making. Does that make sense now? Right? So I want you to do math not just because you have a number and divide it by the amount. Okay, but what does it mean, right? What does it mean? So, or if you want to remember the candy problem, that's always a nice one. Because if you were to do it, you could almost imagine, right? Everybody walking around, oh, you got 7, I got 3, okay, you're going to give me 2. All right, and then you keep going, right? You keep going. You could almost imagine that happening, and after a while, we stop. We can't do it anymore. We're done. We're done sharing. We're done splitting up. Done balancing. Okay? So that's me. What about mode?
Frequent number,
Frequent number?
and one that repeats.
Say again?
One that repeats.
Which one is this? Mode?
Mode?
I don't know.
You don't know what mode? So the way I help you remember, most, right? So most, mode, okay? So for example, if I say person, so this example, let's say, huh?
One that repeats the most.
That just looks on the cheat sheet.
Yeah, the one that have the
That
most.
appears, yeah.
That appears the most or has the most number. Like for example, if you got 2 candy, you got 2 candy, you got 5, you got 3, and I say, everybody in the room. So you could actually do this with children, okay? I say, everybody in the room, before you go and split it all up, line up according to how many you got, right? So if you have 2, stand over here. You have 3, stand over here. If you have 6, stand over here. Anybody got higher? Stand over here, all right? The person who gets the most candy in our example is the mode. All right? So it doesn't matter all the other people. is the person that got the most candy.
Oh, so it's like the top of the, whatever the series is
The
or
counting,
something?
whatever you're counting, right? Whatever you're counting, the most that you counted, that is the most. If you're counting income and it's age, and the income is highest, say at, I'm looking this up, maybe 35 years old, then 35 is your mode for the highest income.
Okay.
Okay, that means at 35 age, they will that you have the highest income. Now, you could also say, it could also be number, like, where is it that people, yeah, that's right, where is it that people make the most money? So that could be a mode. Or if I ask, how many people are making money at different points? And you say, well, people who make 30,000 is at, there were most people making 30,000 at 20. Then 20 is a mode, right? You kind of think about what are you counting? Are you counting the number of people who make income, or are you counting the highest income? Those are two different things. You see that? So usually mode has to do with how you're counting. You're counting the number of people who earn a certain amount.
But the last example that you gave
Which one?
saying that
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
the most that people make $30,000 at age 20, that's what you said?
So there are two ways to think about it. Okay. So mode usually means, like, if I say age, okay, and then I say income. All right. So let's say I'm making this up: 10K, 20K, okay, 30K, 40K, and so on. Okay. Let's say that we are counting those who start to work. So let's say you start with age 18 or maybe 20, and then maybe 25, and then 30, 35. Okay, again, I'm kind of, so I'm saying, if you were to count your neighborhood of 50 people, let's say you did a survey,
Yep.
neighborhood 50 people, there were, no, I'm not doing this right. Let me think about how I do this here. I'm not doing this correctly. How do I do this? Hang on. I'm not doing this correctly.
Wouldn't it be more like, so if at 35 you made like 60,000 and you were off the chart, then 35 would be your mode because that's the most?
For the amount of income, yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of frequency, which is different when you're counting.
Oh.
So when you're counting, this would be a little different. Yeah, this is true. Like, let's say that the average is 10 here, let's say 40 here, and then 20 here. And then you have 40. Yeah, I'm not explaining it correctly, so I apologize. It's like, you know how I know this, but I don't know how to explain it. So let's do this. How many of you live in St. Paul? Nobody? Wow. How many of you live in Minneapolis? Okay, I'm going to do this, all right? Minneapolis,
Huh?
That's the most.
St. Paul,
All of y'all.
and then who else?
There's more than that.
So there are 0 people who live in Minneapolis?
No.
No. 0 people live
We
in
all
St.
live
Paul.
in Minneapolis.
Oh,
Yeah.
how many in Minneapolis? 1, 2, 3, 4. And what else? With
Woodbury.
Woodbury? How many people?
Brooklyn Park.
I can Woodbury. What?
Bloomington.
And where else?
Bloomington.
Bloomington?
There's one for here.
One Freakley. One Freakley. Can we count everybody now? There are 7.
Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park?
Yeah.
How many? Just one? Okay. Who else do we not accounted for? Where do you live?
Columbia Heights.
Columbia Heights.
Right next door.
Got the whole north represented up
Anybody else? Who is not represented here?
St. Paul.
What? Huh?
Minnetonka.
Minnetonka. Who else?
Well, sorry, Big Bloomington too.
Ah, Bloomington is 2.
Very cool.
All right. So if I ask you what is the mode, what would you say?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Okay. That's a better example than what I did because I don't have the real numbers. This is a real number.
But usually don't they put them in like commas, like they put it like.
Could
you
be,
can see
yeah.
all the numbers instead of putting them together.
It depends on the how they show it to you, right? They could say stuff like 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, right? And that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
It
they usually
depends.
put a comma.
It depends. It really depends. So every problem, you can't just kind of think of one way of representing it. They could represent it this way, and then they're gonna say, now the other thing you could do is distance, right? You could say distance. You could say a range of 0 to 5 miles, a range of 5 to 10 miles, a range from 10 to 15 miles. And then all of you will tell me, oh, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. Then we get a picture and say, oh, most people are about 5 to 10 miles from here. So when you think about the English, most people are 5 to 10 miles from here. That's the most, right? When you start talking about most, yes.
Okay, so what if that person was reversed and there were like 4 people in Minneapolis, 4 St. Paul? What then what would happen?
The mode is both Minneapolis or St. Paul.
So you just circle it.
Yeah. Now, if I ask you, so what is the median? That's a little different. What is median?
Middle number?
Yeah. And you know how I remember median? Do you know when you're driving on a highway? What is that thing called between one side and the other side of the highway? That's called median. Okay? That's how you can remember. The middle, right? It's the middle. See that? If you can remember that, you know median, that's the middle. M, most, because all of them are M. Most has to do with the mode. That's how you remember. Mode, most. Okay? Median, think middle. Highway, middle. Okay? Middle. Alright? Because otherwise you're going to get confused. Not because you don't know how to count. You're going to get confused.
The median's tricky because if there's 2 medians, that's when everybody gets confused.
Right. If you have, yeah. So that's what I was going to do next, right? For mode, you don't do anything with the rest of the number. You just look at who or what has the highest number, right? Highest frequency, right? You don't do anything with the rest of it, okay? If I ask you, what is the average number of people, no, that doesn't really make sense in this problem. Like if I add all this number up and divide it by the total, what does that mean? But what does that mean?
That's an average.
Average of what?
It's
That's
average.
Average of,
And the numbers go back.
the average of people who might be living in a city, which doesn't make sense in this problem, right? Doesn't make sense. But it could be, say, if we were to even it out, right? If we were to even it out, where would you, how many people will be living in each city? Then you would add all this up and divide by the total, right? When you add all this up and divide by the total, it gives you a sense of, on average, how many people are in each of the city. That's why you kind of come up with like 2.5, right? Because when you start doing that, the numbers are not whole anymore. And that's the reason sometimes you go, yeah, a family of 2.5. There is no 1.5, but that mathematically is possible. Okay? So when you add all this, so they could ask you the reverse. If I were to add all these numbers and divide by the total, or by the, see, 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 cities, and I total this number and divide by 8. That is the idea of, on average, how many people would be in each city. In our case, it doesn't sort of make sense. I mean, but it means that if I were to spread all of you out, I don't like that there were more people in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So I want to spread all of you out. Okay, spread you out in all 8 cities. what will it be spread to, right? What is the balance? What is the balance of all of you living about the same in each of the cities? Okay. And people do that because sometimes you have a lot of things that say we would like to get equal number of people from Minneapolis and St. Paul. We would like to get equal number of people from Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, and Woodbury and Minnetonka, right? We want to get equal number. So when they are not equal, they like to know what the average is so that you can go find out, okay, we need to go get more people from Woodbury to make the average, right? To make the average. So how do you do median? So in this problem, how would you do median? What is the middle number? In order to do middle, what do you have to do?
Put an
Put
order.
them all in.
Yes, that's the most important thing, okay? Because you can arrange it however you want, but you have to put it in the middle, right? So you will go 1, 1, 1, right? 2.
There's one more one.
Oh, there's one more one? Over here. And then
Another more one.
4, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Wow. Okay. And then 2 fours. I think there's only 1 4, but we put the 4. That doesn't matter. We'll just add the 4 in. All right. So did we get it right? 8. There are 8 numbers, right?
Ooh,
There are 8 numbers.
so it,
So median doesn't care how big they are. Okay.
It's just in the middle.
It's just in the middle. And that's the reason sometimes when people talk about income, the average income and the median income might be very different, right? The median income just means you have a bunch of people, if they were to line up, all 300 million people, line up with their income, right? It's the ones in the middle. That doesn't say how high or how low or what is the spread, right? Whereas average, you are adding all of them up and divide by all the people, okay? But what happens when you have something really high on one end? It will change the average.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes they also say people like to take average, but take out what they call the outlier.
Yeah.
Right? If the like let's say your numbers are like this, and then all of a sudden you have one over here. Okay? You know that the average should be probably somewhere here. Right? But if you have one that is so high, it's going to raise your average. And that's the reason there are times when in student performance data, okay, some of, I have to be very careful, some high performance schools don't like to be mixed in with low performing schools because it drags down the average. Right? And you could say the other way. So when you have very high and very low mixed in, it average out. And sometimes when it is so big a gap, the average will be skewed, right? The average doesn't represent the real number, right? It doesn't really, if everybody is about here, and then you have one school or one person that is so high, and then when you take all the average, it masks the look of it. But if you take this out, then you know that the average is, it gives you a sense of about what everybody is doing. So average is a little bit more nuanced in the sense that because you have to add the numbers up. Median, what about median? Does it matter whether it's small or big on either side? It doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's whatever is in the middle. Okay? So you could have, so before I could like organize this, I literally have to organize it, right, from big to small. From big to small, but my big could be like really big. It doesn't matter. The middle is the middle. That's why sometimes when people say median income, it doesn't tell you the spread too, because it could be really, really high. It's just talking about who's in the middle. So in our case, how do you count middle? I usually like to go both sides, right? So when it is odd, it's easier. Right? When it is odd, it's very easy to count until you get to the middle number. When it's even, you have 2 in the middle, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So these two are the middle. Okay. But because they are the same, it's still 1. But what happens when they are not the same?
You add them up.
And then divide. Yeah, it's kind of the middle number. Okay. So middle again doesn't matter whether this is 15. Doesn't matter. It's the middle number. So if I change this, so the question might say, what if I change the highest number? We counted wrong. The highest number of people who live in Fridley in our group is actually 15 people. Okay? It doesn't matter that it changed the median.
So I left. So if we have two different numbers in the middle, we have to add and divide it also?
Right. Or taking the middle number, right? You take the middle. Yeah. Okay. So that's middle. Remember, median is middle. Median is middle. Okay. What is mode again?
Most.
Most. You are counting the most. Okay. What is average? Yeah, but what do you do with the numbers? Add more up and then divide. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if I ask you a question, if I miscounted and this is not a 4 but a 15, would it change my median?
No.
Would it change my mode? In that case, would it change my mode?
No.
No, because the most number is 1. In this case, right? That means how many? What is the number that happened the most often? In this here is 1.
One.
No, the most.
No, how
The
many?
mode, isn't the mode the biggest number? Or
No.
the number that
No, you say the most.
The most. Depends on how you ask the question, right? Depends on how you ask the question. The first time I ask it, the mode is
4, right?
4 because they are but then to ask that, I'm actually arranging it this way. St. Paul, I'm arranging by city. St. Paul, okay? See what I'm saying? I'm actually arranging it by the city. Here, I'm arranging by the numbers, right? So the number that happened the most is 1. So you got to read carefully. What are you arranging? What are you counting? Right? Are you counting the cities or are you counting the number of people in the city? Right? So that's like that. Sometimes get people mixed up. Right? You're gonna be what am I counting? So ask yourself, what am I counting? What is the question asking me to count? Okay? Whatever I'm counting, the most is that mode. Right? In this case, if I'm counting. What is the number that is happening most often? 1. Right? So you could do that. If I did that and change the number to 15, would it change my mean? Would it change my mean?
No.
Yes or no?
Oh, the mean?
The mean.
Absolutely, because the average, it
Yes.
modifies it.
Yes. All right. So you're going to be very careful. When does it change the mean, mode, or median? Right? In the middle, you could change all sorts of numbers on both sides. Right? The middle number is a middle number, unless you change the middle. Right? The mode, unless I added a 1 here, right? Then the mode changes. But if whatever I'm adding is still less than the highest, then it doesn't change. Right? So if I have another 2 here, does it matter? My mode is still 1 because I still have the most in 1. And those are questions that have you can't just memorize, you have to really think about it. Am I counting the most? Am I looking at the middle number? Am I looking at spreading the number out? Okay, reading that is very, very important to understand that. Okay. So keep thinking about that, and the more you read the problems, the more you understand, like, what is it asking you to count, right? What is it that you're asking to count? Does that help that you had a way to remember? Because I think I've talked to several of you that those 3 things, if you don't remember it, you kind of look at the problem and you go, well, I know how to do them, but I just don't know which is which, right? So knowing how to memorize this is very important. How about, there is a section on page 5, they have page numbers. Yay.
Which book are we in?
The probability and statistics. I don't think the problems will ask you to calculate standard deviation, but you need to understand the idea of numbers being spread out, okay? When numbers are spread out, like for example, do you all know about like a normal distribution? What does normal distribution mean? Again, not the technical, but conceptually. When, for example, height has a normal distribution. Which means, and I'll keep talking to see whether you understand what I mean, okay? In a normal distribution for US, I am on the really low end of that normal distribution, okay? But in Asia, like in Hong Kong, I am considered more in the middle of the normal distribution.
So
what
the
is
average
Average
again.
height,
Huh?
so that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. So what it's saying is,
US,
right, weight is another one, right? Weight, height, has some sort of normal distribution, yes?
So it's kind of like where the mean, mode, and median are like the same number, right? Normal?
No. It means that, normal distribution means that there are certain things that if you take everybody's height, they will fall where there are some people in the middle, and there are some folks that are all about the same, and then there are folks like me who are really, really short, and then there are folks who are really, really, really tall, okay?
so like, if, an example, I'm hoping I might be on it, like
Yeah.
a military,
Uh-huh,
like how they had the military, like they have certain age or height and.
yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So normal distribution, sometimes it look like that, sometimes it might look right in the middle, sometimes it might look like maybe this way. But whatever way this is, what you're saying is that when you take all the people and distribute them along, say, the weight, right? There will be a bunch of people in US that are going to weigh around here, all right? Whatever the average is, around, okay? And then you're going to have people who are weighing on, but maybe on this side. And then there will be some that are really, really, really heavy, and then really, really light. But most people are in the middle, okay, in the middle. This is the most, okay? This is you can think of this as frequency. Same thing with height. That's the reason I say, when I'm here, I'm usually, if height is from small to big, I'm usually on this side, right? My height is very low. But then say in Hong Kong, my height are probably somewhere in this range. Because most people around me is about my height. Or taller, but not so tall, right? So very tall people might be then more here. So the same person that is here in